Well, hello everyone on YouTube, presumably car owners, based on this video. Today we're going to talk about Maaco. So, a lot of people are familiar with getting their car taken in for claims and things like getting accident damage repaired and, like partial paint jobs, like painting a chip in your car or fixing a scratch or like fixing a dent and then maybe painting it. But what we're going to talk about today is full brand new paint. And through what I've researched, it seems like you only would get full paint if you have a vintage car or like a muscle car or maybe a race car, but you wouldn't go take your Honda Civic that already has 100,000 miles to get a new paint job. Unless you're me. I don't have a Honda Civic, but I have a Hyundai Sonata. It's a 2007. It's got about 85,000 miles, and this thing runs great. The only problem is the previous owner, who lived in Georgia, which is where I used to live, left it in the driveway outside in the Georgia heat, sun, and humidity. And I know this because when I first got it and I got the first oil change, they take the air filter out, and they took it out and it was like, because there was like a whole locust in there. It was like a locust and pine needles and bugs and like nasty. So I was like, yeah, this thing been outside for a while. And like he had drove it a little bit because actually it was my ROTC instructor and he drove it to school. And I remember in high school, I was like, wow, that's such a pretty car, because it was like baby blue and kind of like shimmery. But I guess he didn't use it a lot because it didn't have that many miles when I got it. Anyways, the car runs great, so I didn't want to just buy a new car, which I would never buy a new car. What I would do is buy a used car for probably less than $5,000, which we got this one for $5,000, but I'm sure it's worth a little bit more than that. But yeah. So, paint job's gonna cost a couple thousand. That's why most people think it's kind of stupid to take a average, car, like a used car under $10,000 and get it painted, because why would you do that? It's like the literal cost of a new used car. But, this is my opinion. I know this car. I drove it from Georgia to Oregon with zero problems. Like, the only thing we had to do was get gas and maybe an oil change one time. There was literally no problems with that car. You know what? My ex's car, though, had some problems on the way. But, nope, mine was great. And it still hasn't had any problems. Like, the only issue I've had is a trunk latch broke. But that's not even, like, an issue with the car driving. That's just like, oh, this plastic piece broke. Like, I don't know, man. So I think it's great, and I don't understand much about how cars work or anything, so if I know that my car works well and I trust it, I would rather pay to put new paint on something that I know is good than to get something new with good paint that I don't know how it works. What if something has a problem on it, and now I've got a bigger problem than just repaint it and be done? So anyways, the situation with the paint was, because it had been sitting in the sun, there was all these little pieces that were like chipping and flaking off just on their own. And then I also took it through the automated car wash, which that was a mistake because it ripped so many more pieces of paint off. So I had all these little chips all over it, right? And then my dad was like, before I left to go to Oregon, he was like, you need to cover these chips so they don't rust. Like, you need to do something about it. And there was a really big one by the gas tank too. And so I got a white paint, car paint cover pen, because, like, you couldn't match that baby blue color. I don't think they do custom paint pens, and I wasn't going to take it to a shop and pay hundreds of dollars to cover it because, like, the whole paint was just garbage. It was going to keep happening. So I just got a $20, like, white paint pen, and it had, like, the sanding nub on it and then the white paint and the clear coat. So it was really nice. And I just kept covering the chips. But every time I took it to the car wash, it was, like, new chips, and then it would take off some of the white covers that I put on, and, like, I was like, this is just getting really bad. And then on the hood, too, it's like, it looked all cloudy and, like, hazy. from like just sun damage to the whole paint. Like it was a big, like half of the hood was just this splotch of hazy. And I'm like, you know, I don't want the car to fall apart from the outside. And it would be cool to get like a car makeover. So, and there were a couple little dents in the car too, and they fixed that while I was in there. So, okay, I went to Maaco because the other options are an auto repair shop, which none of them do full paint jobs now, which I guess it kind of makes sense because if you're in there sanding and banging and whatever else they're doing to fix the other cars, all these particles and shit's going to be in the air. So when they paint your car, now it's going to stick onto your paint and make these defects, which you'll see what those look like. But, yeah, you don't want that. So, you either go to Maaco or you go to a hot rod shop and pay way more than Maaco. And I was like, it's not that serious. We're going to Maaco. Okay, so, oh my god, they also call it a makeover. You know what I'm saying? Like, makeover. I thought that was so cute. Anyway, here's my invoice. We're going to talk about how much it costs, and then we're going to look at it, obviously, duh. So I got the full paint. They had to replace the front bumper because of some damage that I already had, and they fixed a couple other dings. We also did the chip repair. Like, so there was a bunch of chips and stuff in the paint, so they couldn't just like kind of lightly sand the existing paint and then paint over it. They had to sand it all the way down to the metal and also get rid of any rust spots that were already on there. So it was a bit more expensive, but that's what I wanted to do because otherwise they would need new paint again in like 2 years. I'm like, take it all the way down to the metal, fix the metal, paint over it. It's going to cost more. I really don't care. I'm going to have this car for like 10 more years and it's going to be great. Okay, so that's what we did. You can get the cheap paint thing though for less than $1,000. If you just want to smack some new color on top of what you got, you can totally do that for less than $1,000 at Maaco. But this paint was not ready for that. Or suitable. Anyway, so we did all the door jams, and we also did the jam under the trunk, and that's just to make sure that when you open the door, it's not like it's purple on the door and there's like baby blue on the inside, you know, like where you open it. Same thing with the trunk, but the hood, it's like the hood isn't even painted on the inside, it's just bare metal, and then whatever oversprays into the hood, so that was fine, we didn't do that. Okay, let's see what else we said. Yeah, surface reconditioning and excessive chip repair. That's because they're getting all the way down to the metal. So the overall paint was $2,600. The surface reconditioning was $300. The body labor to fix the existing damage, which if your car doesn't have damage, then you wouldn't pay this, was $250. And I went to Washington, so I paid taxes, but I was like, it's a long story. We're going to talk about it later, but I was like, whatever. I just want it done. I'll pay the taxes of $150 on top of $4,000, like, whatever. So, that's what we did. Okay. So, the total came to, without taxes, about $3,300. So, you can do your state tax math with that. Now we're going to go in the garage and look at the car. Oh my god, you know what? I had this thing on the tripod with the ring light, and I didn't even turn the ring light on. Like, I plugged it in and everything. Whatever. Oh well. Also, quick fun fact on the way to the garage. It's been snowing here. Look at that snow outside. Oh yeah, this is like shit quality. Let me open the door. 3 or 4 days now. It started on Thursday and it is now Monday. Okay, now we go in the garage. Move my stuff. Alright, this is my garage. As you can see, the car is very pretty purple. Ooh. Very pretty. And if you see any of these big white things, it's just the light reflecting, like those aren't defects. We had quite a time with this, but we're gonna appreciate the final product before I start talking about problems. Also, I got a new steering wheel cover to kind of match. It's got hearts embroidered on it. I thought it was super cute. And I've had this pom-pom thing forever. I got it actually in Germany when I was studying abroad. They were like, okay, so like Europe's fashion is always ahead of America. So before that came a trend to put pom-poms on everything here. They were in Europe, and I got it for like €3 versus here it would be like $15 when they first came out, which is crazy. And then I don't know if you can tell, but I also have those little heart charms, and those are basically stickers from Dollar Tree that I stuck to the sides of each other with some string in the middle and put through the chain on the pom-pom, you know, because hearts. Yeah, that's why. Okay. So yeah, this is like a really pretty deep purple. It's got kind of a slight bluish to it, which I wanted. I want my purple to go more blue than red. It's also slightly metallic, like some little sparkles in it, you know what I'm saying? This video is really not doing it justice at all, but yeah, they did a good job. So, they did a good job on the end result. How we got here was not good, okay? And I don't think it was the guy in charge. Like, I don't think it was his fault. Okay. There actually something happened here. So let's talk about the story. You can just appreciate the car while I talk about it. So, this is what happened. I had a week off because I was burnt out from work. And so I went to this place. Actually, I called them first. I was like, hey, do you guys do full paint? This is like the 20th place I called. And they were like, yes. And I was like, oh my God, finally. Okay. Like, how much is it? And they were like, oh, you know, like maybe 2,000 or 3,000. And I was like, okay, sounds good. When can I bring my car by? And they were like, well, we have to do a, like, estimate. Like, we have to look at the car and give you an estimate first. And so I brought it over for that in the morning. And then I was like, okay, so that sounds good. When can I drop it off? And then they were like, oh, actually, you can leave it here. So then I had my boyfriend come and pick me up, and we left it there. And then like 5 days later, it was ready. So I came and picked it up. Or I thought I was going to pick it up. I had my roommate drive me over our lunch break because we're working from home. Anyway, we were working, so we only had an hour of lunch. And so we get there, and then the guy comes out and he's like, oh, no, you weren't supposed to show up. I tried to call you this morning. We left it outside overnight. We left your brand new, whole, full, new paint car outside overnight. What? And you know what happened? We had a windstorm overnight and it rained. And this is what happened. So you might have seen this and been like, what's up with that? Actually, a big ass branch landed right here. Right here. And it almost hit the windshield, but did not. Or whatever this is called. And, so there was big dents and scratches. So now they're a lot better, but that was really bad. Like, it was really bad. And so he said, yeah, we're going to fix it. No cost to you, which I hope not. I'm not the idiot that left it outside in a storm the literal day after it was painted. But so they kept it and fixed it. And then I came back a couple days later, I think it was like a week later, again, on a work day. I had a different friend take me over lunch so that my roommate wouldn't be annoyed with me. And, you know, I only have an hour of lunch and it's half an hour away. What am I going to do? Do a full inspection on the car and be like an hour late to work after lunch? No. So I just look at the car. At first glance, it looks good. And of course, the first glance, you're not looking at the back, you're looking at the front. So I was like, cool, okay. Paid him, drove away. Then I get home and I'm like, I get out of the car and then I see something and I'm like, wait a minute. So then I come around to the back and I'm like, oh my God, this is all fucked up. Like, there was bare metal here and there was like these big scratches. And then like one of the wheel wells wasn't painted. And there were like huge defects that if you wash the car with a sponge, the sponge would have got ripped up on. And like there was paint missing around here and there was paint missing around there. And then there was bare metal here. And it was like, the more I looked, the more I found. And I was like, whoever did the final inspection on this either was blind, looking at the wrong car, or didn't look at anything, because I look at the car for 5 minutes and can make a whole list. So then I called them and I was like, no, I did not pay almost $4,000 for this. And they were like, oh, send us some pictures. Dude, I had to send them 5 emails of pictures because of how many things I had to take pictures of. And They took like a day to think about it, and then they were like, okay, bring it by at your convenience and we will fix everything for free. So I was like, how's Saturday? Because I am done driving here over work time. And they were like, that sounds good. And then I was like, okay, is it gonna be like a day? Do I drop it off? And they were like, nope, we'll do it same day. It'll only be an hour or two. You can even just stay here while we're doing it. So we went and dropped it off with them. We went to a park and walked around. And then he called us a couple hours later and it was done. And we did the full inspection. Okay, look, there's something. This is what I'm talking about. See this bare metal right here? It's like a chip that's missing. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so if you want to get a reasonably priced paint job that is reasonably well done, Maaco is where to go. Because a hot rod shop, this would have been probably over $10,000, which it's not that serious. But what I should probably do is get me a purple paint pen, and anytime I find a chip like that little one I just showed you, I should just cover it, because the whole reason I did this is so the metal would stop rusting. Like, I don't want my car's metal to just rust through and start falling off or whatever happens. So anyway, something that they tell you before you even start. You see this? This is a dust imperfection. This is the result of other stuff going on in the shop, like sanding, and like they're using rags to clean things. So fibers and particles will be flying around when they're spraying the paint on, and some will inevitably get stuck in the paint. These aren't rough. The sponge is not going to catch on them when you're washing it, but you can see them, so they're just cosmetic. And they tell you that that's going to happen before you even start. That's why it's $4,000 instead of $12,000. So I was fine with that. What I'm not fine with is bare metal, because that's half the reason you get a paint job. But if it's a little thing in the crack here, if I used a purple that doesn't match this, are you even going to see this? Like, probably not. I'm just doing that to protect the car. So actually, I could just use the clear coat side of the white pen I have. Anyways, yeah, that's my thing about Maaco. Like, when I was doing research about getting my car painted, I couldn't find shit. So hopefully this helps somebody. If you're looking to get your car fully painted and it's not a crazy hot rod, Mustang, vintage, whatever, this would be your best bet. Just make sure you fully inspect the car before you pay. And if there's any damage or things that weren't done correctly, or like the wheel well's not painted or something like that, make sure you point it out and have them fix it before you give them any money. So just be ready to wait for a week or something before you get your car back. Luckily, my boyfriend has a car and we were just both sharing his, and now the paint is supposed to cure fully for 6 weeks. You can drive it around, but then if it gets rained on, you have to wipe it off. And I'm like, if we have another car, I'm just gonna leave it in here and make the other car work for both of us. But I've had to do that once, and obviously it's fine if you wipe it off. There's no water spots, but yeah, that's how it is. Please, like, leave a comment if this was helpful for you, because that would make me happy. This would have saved me so much time if I had just found a video like this in the first place. But yeah, that's, oh, you know what? I also put these lights in here. I put lights in here. I have a clip of it. I'm gonna include the clip, okay? They're really cool. Cool. There's one under each that, and then in the back. There, wow, you can just see me. Okay, but there's one on each side of the back. So you'll see what I'm talking about in the clip. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hello, this was my review of Maaco. I would probably give them 3 stars. I really want to give them 4 because the customer service was so good. They were so nice. Like, they were totally understanding when I was like, we need to fix this. This is unacceptable. They were like, yeah, you're right. Okay. we'll work with you for the timing and we're gonna get it fixed and we're gonna do it right. But it shouldn't have taken me driving out there like 2 or 3 times. And you should never leave anybody's car outside in a storm. If you're a business who works on cars, you need to have more storage space, or you need to book people accordingly so you don't have too many cars for your capacity, and you do not leave the fully freshly painted car outside. Like, I don't know what was going on with the other cars, but like, pretty sure mine was pretty high priority to have to be inside during a rainstorm, windstorm, whatever. Like, they told me to not leave it outside, so why are they doing it? But anyways, they were really nice and understanding, so, you know, overall, the actual quality I give maybe 3 stars, but overall, like, with the customer service and stuff, I give them 4. I want to give them 5 because they were really nice. The customer service side is 5, but I cannot give them an overall 5. Like, you saw there's still a piece where it's not painted. So people need to learn how to do their job right. I know that like this whole situation that we're in, global situation, is kind of hard, but do your job. All right, that's all I have to say. Yeah.